On the 5th of May, 1789, the French Revolution broke out in France as a result of King Louis' extravagant living and selfishness to himself and ignoring the people. And this led to a lot of hunger and scarcity in the land, and then the French Revolution broke out because this was not enough. Another example is the athletics that began as far back 776 BC, where people were being used for recreational and sport activities just for the sole purpose of securing this. We have seen all across history that when this is not enough, people always do everything in their power to make sure they get it by all means. There are many people currently right now who have gone out of the will of God for their life because of this. And when I mean this is proportionally directed to anything that can get this. So money is also this. There are people working tirelessly night and day because of this. Many nations have forgotten and extracted God out of their system because of this. Many families are broken today because of this. Many people have maneuvered their way out of God's will for their lives because of this. The children of Israel, on their way to the promised land, said they wanted to return back to Egypt because of this. Many believers in this generation and even in time past have denied God because of this. Many students in schools have compromised again and again because of this. Many parents, respectfully speaking, have died because of this. And the truth of this is that your life was never designed to live for this. Your life was never designed to search for this. Your life was never designed to be wasted in seeking this. So Jesus came in Matthew 4 and brought a correction to this deficit ideology. He said, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. But unfortunately in this generation, there are many people who are living solely by this. So the psalmist said, it is vain to wake up early in the morning and to sleep late at night only to eat the bread of affliction. But he said he gives his beloved sleep. So you are only privileged for that sleep if you are his beloved. If you are not his beloved, that sleep is not available. In the early 60s and the early 70s, we saw it literally when civilization was still in its infancy. We saw people literally had more than enough. We saw people literally had more than enough. People had more than their needs. People were well to do, and because of this, they had time to explore. They had time to do many things apart from looking for what. Down along the line, as civilization took off, systems were designed, systems were erected to make sure people use their lives to work for this and never have time for their purpose, never have time for their family, never have time to do something useful with their life. So 3 legal terms were used in classifying people. They said the 3 terms are the upper class, the middle class, and the lower class. My question is, who produced these classes? If you are giving us a term that, okay, there are 3 levels of classes, my question is, who produced those classes? Who erected those classes? It is high time a generation arise that can ask questions. A generation that can question the status quo. Why is this like this? Why should this be done this way? What is the fact behind this? Why must this be this? Why is this here? Why are we doing this? The moment you begin to ask those questions, we begin to see that a lot of misconception and a lot of lies backing up many things we have been taught, many things we've been told, many things that we've been indoctrinated with from time past. Systems were erected to make sure people fit into these 3 classes: the upper class, the middle class, and the lower class. So, and the chiefest of them that people are being fitted into is the lower class. And systems were erected that make sure people are prepared and then they are fit into these classes. One of the systems is the school system. Another system is the IMF. Another system is the World Bank. All these systems were solely created for this purpose. So if you think inflation, if you think things just get high, if you think the cost of things just rise literally or arbitrarily by themselves, please think again. If you think poverty rate in the world, if you think lack, scarcity, all those things are natural, please think again. There are many things that are being artificially done. They are being artificially orchestrated just to make sure people are put in a box. Because when people are put in a box, there is a control over them. They know when things get high, people will have to work themselves out so that they can pay their bills. But when those things are met, there's no way to control them. How will you control a people who are independent, people who are literally not surviving by your system? So this system are carefully designed to make sure people are harboured, people are caged, people are in a perpetual box that they cannot break out from. And that's why we have what we call the rat race. What is the rat race? The rat race is people running in a circle, trying to break free from a circle that have been intelligently orchestrated by these folks. We are entering the year 2025, and there are two things you need for your life to change. There are many people currently who are wondering, Lord, is this how my life will be? Is this your will for me? I can tell you on behalf of God, this is not God's will for your life. This is not God's will for your life. Where you are currently is not the best of God for you. It says in Jeremiah 29 verse 11, it says, I know the thoughts that I have towards you, the thoughts of good and not of evil. It says to give you a future and a hope. So God's will for you is the best. God's will for you is for you to have time for Him. God's will for you, God's purpose for you is for you to have the time to seek Him. It says, you said, seek me. David said, thy face, O God, will I seek. So God's desire is that every of His children is living in the purpose that He has designed for them to walk in. So there are two things you need in 2025 for your life to change. Number one is hunger. Number two is anger. When you have these two things in your life, I can tell you your life is on the verge of changing and becoming something that you will never think of. People's life change when these two things are in place. When they get angry and when they are hungry, these two things changes their life. You can check all across the Bible, check all across issues. You will always see what marks a turning point in people's life is when they get angry and when they are hungry. And this is why, as a matter of fact, the devil knows this. That's why he does things little by little just to make sure people adapt to it. So he makes sure he puts a pain in your body, and you keep nursing the pain gradually until it kills the person. Because he knows that when you get angry, things will change. He knows when you get angry, things will turn around. When you get angry, situations can literally change. He says, shall a woman be made forth to bring forth in a day? He said, yes, as soon as Zion travailed, she brought forth. So people's life can change. It depends on their level of hunger and their level of anger. If you are not hungry and you are not angry, you can remain in a place for a decade. Why? Because nothing can change you. And that's why there is an inherent nature in man called satisfaction. There is an inherent nature in man called complacency. Man was designed to be complacent, and that's why you have to make sure you break out of it consciously by being hungry and angry. The prodigal son came back to his senses and said, what am I doing here? My father's slave have more than enough to eat, and I'm here begging for crumbs, pig's food. And he said, I will now turn and go back to my father. He was angry and he was hungry. The French Revolution could not have break out if the people were not hungry and they are angry. So they told you that in your family, nobody rises above a certain threshold. So they've told you that this is the circle this generation must pass through, and it will continue to your children's children. When you get angry, the devil knows this, but you will pack the load on behalf of your parents, you will pack the load on behalf of yourself, and you will pack the load on behalf of your children unborn, and you will pack it and say, enough is enough. I can't continue this way. I can't continue in this circle. Things must change. Things must turn around. When you get angry, things always change. So in 2025, what will change your life is not just by receiving prophetic words alone. Your life will not change because you are in crossover and you are receiving prophetic words. Your life will change when you change your priorities, when you set your priorities right. And this is a charge up for somebody watching right now. You need to break out of that circle. You need to break out of that sphere. You need to break out of that box. Enough